Good afternoon, my name is Milton Velez, and I'll talk about the landfills of Puerto Rico and the environmental issues they are causing. In Puerto Rico, there's a great amount of landfills that are not following EPA safety regulations. These regulations are very important to maintain a clean environment surrounding these landfills. Even some of the most basic regulations are being violated by them. These violations can cause very serious water and land pollution and can even be a factor for other issues. It is also very important to give awareness and stimulate the government and EPA to take action in fixing these landfills, because the main issue is that there's a great amount of solutions, but not much is being done. The biggest issue is that 22 of all the landfills in Puerto Rico are not following safety regulation, even some of the most important ones. Many of these landfills have their waste in direct contact with the soil and do not have the plastic liner necessary to divide them. Another very important regulation is not being near bodies of water, and the landfill of Toa Baja does not follow this regulation as well, and has a body of water very near. This does not only cause a great amount of water pollution, but it also is believed that it worsens the amount of mosquito with Zika virus. The most shocking part of the Toa Baja landfill, even in those horrible conditions, is still operational and is still pending closure date. These landfills are in such bad condition that some are considered open dumps. Open dumps are illegal dumping locations. In these images, we can see how very noticeable the Toa Baja landfill is violating such important safety regulations of EPAs. In the first image, we can clearly see how it's near a body of water, and the second image, we can see a new waste location that has no plastic liner dividing the waste from the soil. Even though it had such big violations, this landfill is still operational. What are the solutions? There is some solutions for a landfill crisis, some obviously easier than others, but some can make much bigger difference. The most obvious solution and most direct solution is to fix the landfills that have minor safety violations, while also closing the landfills that have much bigger issues. The government can also promote better recycling for the island that has currently extremely low recycling rates of 7 to 10%. By promoting recycling, this can help reduce the overflow of waste in the landfills. Another great solution for the future is creating facilities that create energy from waste. This is much more difficult and expensive, but one that should be implemented in the future. Waste to energy. Is it the best solution? While there exists no clear best solution, a great solution to implement in the future is using the great amount of waste in the island to create energy. There's many types of waste to energy, some well known, for example incineration, and others more complex and new. Like mentioned before, the most known way of creating energy is incineration, where in very simple terms, they burn the waste in high temperature and create heat that is used as energy. Gasification is very similar to incineration because it uses the high temperatures, but this time it does not create combustion. Gasification uses steam and oxygen to create gas that is used as energy. Hydropyrolysis is another way of creating energy while using high temperature, but this time it uses water as a way of creating fuel. Anaerobic digestion is a more complex and slow way of creating waste energy from waste, using microorganisms. These microorganisms destroy the biodegradable content and create energy while doing it. It's a very clean way of creating energy, but it produces a slow amount. There's many ways of creating energy using waste, and these are much more complex than they seem. And there also exist many others. But this is just a simple example showing the many possibilities that can help the landfill crisis. Can Arecibo make the difference? In this image, we can see the 4 steps of the resource recovery facility in Arecibo that has already been approved and it has all the permits necessary for construction. While it's still not operational, this is a great advancement for Puerto Rico and creating energy. and this can make a great difference in the landfill crisis in the near future. Not only that, but this facility can promote greatly and increase the amount of recycling for the island. Now, can recycling really be the main solution and the only one? While recycling is obviously a very important factor in environmental issues and can help greatly the landfill crisis of Puerto Rico, it cannot be the only solution. Like mentioned before, recycling rates in the island are extremely low at a rate of 7 to 10%. Therefore, to make any difference, the percent must grow greatly. However, with the creation of energy facilities, like mentioned before, the recycling rates grow greatly. And if that's the case, recycling can be an indirect help to the landfill crisis by lowering the amount of waste delivered to the landfills, but it does not help directly with the main issue, that is, the bad conditions of the landfills. Landfills are full of recyclables. In this pie chart, you can clearly see that the great amount of solid waste that is delivered to the landfills is actually recyclable. For example, plastic, paper, glass, cartons, etc. If the amount of recycling in the island grows from the 7 to 10% to the estimate goal of 35%, this can help with the overflow of waste in the landfills, and while it's not a direct solution for the crisis, it helps greatly. These solutions fix the main issue. The solutions explained before are solutions that are great for the future, but are only indirect solutions to the main issue. The main issue continues, and it's all the landfills that do not follow safety regulations, whether they're big or they're small. To solve these solutions, the only way is either to fix or close all the landfills, depending on their conditions. For this to happen, EPA and the government must take action, primarily closing the ones that can cause environmental issues, and fix the smaller landfills. While creating landfills with all the latest technology is also an option, and will replace the closed landfills, it would not really be a smart idea. It will not be very cost efficient, and it would also take time. While it would replace the landfills and not cause serious environmental issues, it would be a much smarter idea to use that time and money to create facilities that create energy like mentioned before. Therefore, the only issue is either to fix or close and not really create new facilities that would cost too much money. How does a landfill really look like? This image shows a typical modern landfill and all its equipment. You can see how complex and how many things a modern landfill has. And the Puerto Rico landfills don't even have the most basic plastic liner dividing the waste from the soil. With this image, you can see how complex a modern landfill is and how costly it would be to create. Therefore, like mentioned before, with the economy in Puerto Rico, we should only focus in fixing the current ones and not in creating new ones, rather than create new facilities that use waste for energy. That is a much more economic, efficient way. Is anything really being done? Like explained before, the only real solution is to either fix or close the landfills. Here we can see 12 of the landfills that are being monitored. One of them being the Toa Baja. Like mentioned before, this is one of the worst conditions a landfill is, and you can clearly see that it's still pending closure, and even has a new cell construction. In conclusion, the landfills that do not have all safety regulations are a very serious issue for the safety of the people and the environment. Not much has really been done for a long period of time. But there really does exist many solutions. Improving and closing the landfills that do not follow the regulations helps a great amount, as well as creating new ways to use the waste to create energy is a better idea for the long run. However, this is a very much more difficult procedure and requires lots of money and time, and money is really scarce in Puerto Rico. Therefore, for the time being, the important thing is to fix this existing landfills or close them, while also trying to promote better recycling from the citizens.